Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life. gbhblofficial.com for sure. And it's they made what into a TV series. Halo Talk Through, Halo Review, episode number 8, Allegiance. Directed by Jonathan Liebsman, written by Justine Jill Gilmer and Stephen Kane. Look, folks, this is the best episode of the show.
Yep.
We've all been building to this. We've been excited for this based off how it ended. Last time we caught up with Master Chief and him appearing or getting a vision of him and Maquis on a Halo ring world. We now need to know where this is going.
Yep.
There are elements in this episode that initially I was like, oh no, don't do that. No, don't do that. But overall now, I haven't seen the full show, that I'm more than happy with.
Yeah.
But this is an action-packed, energetic, exciting experience that leads, because there's an argument you could say 8 and 9, you have to watch them together.
Yeah.
Because how it ends and then it continues into 9.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, there's some shit in this that I just love.
Yep,
There's some
indeed.
shit in this I love. John's vision of the Halo and seeing Maquis there have connected them in a way that few people would have expected. And he goes to see her and takes her out for a walk. On Reach, they kind of walk through some gardens as we hear the voice of Halsey talk about what she saw in John, and we see that she's monitoring from her room. Cortana reports that John appears to be back to normal, his health having improved, which makes sense. Maquis did tell him, stop fighting the visions, let them take over.
Yeah.
Obviously, the appearing in Ringworld seems to have calmed him, and he definitely has this connection, and almost he doesn't understand it. Either does Maquis to agree that they don't quite understand what it is. You're smiling already.
Yeah, because they definitely have a connection.
They certainly do.
And it ain't mother and son or brother and sister, which I thought.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, you were well off then. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's sci-fi world. You never know. It might be different.
Yeah.
John and Maquis walk. She's seeing relaxed people in the city with wide eyes. So I thought that was cool as well. A similar thing to when John removed his emotion palette and kind of looked at Reach with new eyes. But she's kind of doing the same thing, seeing people relaxed, going about their life, seemingly not fearful.
Yeah, it's like she's sort of experiencing the human side for the first time.
First time in a very long time. She tells John about the book she used to read when she was a kid before the Covenant took her. John now notices they're being monitored from a distance, and that's no surprise, John. I don't think you should have been shocked that they'd be keeping a close eye.
Of course.
They trust you. It's not they trust Maquis. There is that. And we do see Parangosky and Jacob watching them on monitors. They briefly discuss if he knows that they were involved in his abduction. Because remember, John knows that Halsey was, but he has no clue that Parangosky and Jacob were involved too. John then takes Maquis under a tree so they can have a little bit of privacy, and they talk about seeing each other on the Halo. Why are you smiling again?
Taking it under a tree for a bit of privacy, eh?
Just, yes, under a tree, because obviously he knows they'll be watching via, satellites.
Satellite.
She reveals to him that the Covenant seek the Halo rings to begin what they call the Great Journey, a transcendent great journey, speaking of the prophecy of what will happen to those who aren't worthy, cleansed. So that's your implication there, that the unworthy humanity and things like that.
Yep.
The word cleansed is never nice when it's used in this context.
Yeah.
You to be cleansed means you're to be wiped out. John and Maquis discuss humanity and if they're worth saving. John sticks up for humanity. He says, look, flawed or not, we'd have this and they do this and they do that. But she's not convinced. He is called away, though, and Maquis is frightened by a barking dog, automatically almost going into attack mode, where she kind of pulls out a little, I don't know what you call it, blade finger.
Yeah, claw,
it's something like that, Freddy Krueger knife, but it's blue. John was called away, because we now see that a UNSC city has been wiped out by a Covenant attack. Glassed, as they call it, and we mean wiped out. It is, being glassed is it's scorched earth. That's what it is. It looks like a hellscape. That's what they have done. John arrives and says, look, we need to take the fight to the Covenant. We can't just keep waiting for them to come to us, basically. And he's able to convince Parangosky and Jacob to let Maquis test the keystone under Miranda's supervision. His idea is, look, we've tried to search for this whole world. We can't find it. What if she touches it, connects to it, where it tells us where the second one is? And then we can then track it via that.
It's good idea.
It is and it isn't. You can see why Parangosky and Jacob aren't so game for it. They just can't trust Maquis. What if it works both ways, What if it tells the Covenant where we are? Remember, they're trying to keep Reach hidden. I always get the impression they're aware that if the Covenant found out Reach was the UNSC homeworld,
They'd be wiped out, I think.
that they wouldn't be able to hold them back. There is that possibility. The rest of the Silver Team discuss the Covenant ship they have in a hangar. They have one, and that Kai's health has massively improved as she has been basically cut to her doing betting on her strength from other soldiers.
Yep.
You know, clearly having a lot of fun. I think that's important as well to keep that Kai is like Chief now, has a more human side.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Miranda is still trying to decode the message from the UNSC Corvette attack. A lot of things are culminating here. You get the sense she's getting closer with this.
Yes.
And obviously we know when that message is revealed, it's going to reveal that it was Mackie. And that's a real problem. Jacob arrives and they discuss the plan to let Mackie touch the Keystone and her work. Meanwhile, Mackie is having some serious mental anguish over her role. Her connection to John is dominating her mind. So when he arrives to see her, they have sex.
Yeah.
They sleep together. I think this will have caused a lot of people a lot of bother, not wanting to see Master Chief in this role. What do you think?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I did say that I guarantee at some point there's going to be... But
You were completely wrong there. You were Kai.
I said with Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be with Mackie, but I suppose it makes more sense. They both pretty much are basically one, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they're one half of a coin almost.
Yeah, so that kind of makes more sense. But, yeah, I could have done without it. So there's no need for it, but I'm not too fussed, to be honest.
Yeah, same, not too fussed either. I kind of agree with you. I don't think it gives anything more to the story at all. But I don't have a problem with it either because I also accept that this Master Chief, A, is not the Master Chief of the game, but this is a Master Chief that removed his emotional suppressant pellet. But after, he tells her that she'll be allowed to use the Keystone. And then he brings her the book that she described to him. So that kind of convinces, like... this was before they sleep together. That's it. He bought her the gift, and she's like, "All right, man, we can bang."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it kind of convinces her that she may not have complete faith in humanity, but she can have faith in John.
Yes.
And that's a starting point for anyone, right? I think so.
Yeah.
After sleeping together, she wakes up, sees John is still sleeping, and basically, you see in her face, she's like, "I'm going to put my trust in this man." And removes the implant in her finger, which looks to be a very painful process. It's very cool to see how that worked. It's sort of like an implant that replaced her fingernail and went under it.
It's quite gruesome, yeah.
It was, yeah. Cortana reports the latest to Halsey and notes that Mackie is exactly like John. And you can see the cogs whirring in her head here with Halsey.
Yep.
You really can. Who is about to go off the freaking insane deep end.
Yep.
Incredible stuff. Jacob arrives and tells her that she's been taken off planet. Basically, it's been decided you're not staying here anymore. You're too dangerous.
Yep.
And it's Parandowski's orders. Halsey, of course, tries to argue about how she's so important. But he holds firm and throws their work in her face. He isn't having any of it.
Yep.
Which I didn't mind as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad time, really.
Yeah, it seems like he cares for her, but he knows that she's such a problem, and that it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, she's taken it way too far now.
Yeah, because he points out to her that her obsessions have cost her all her relationships, because obviously being the mother of Miranda, and then being incredibly estranged. And bear in mind as well that we're currently aware that her emotion to Miranda that we saw in a previous episode was false to a degree, so that she could allow herself access using the implant, the contact lens implant, to then get herself access using Miranda.
Yep.
So, do you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to have any sympathy for Halsey.
Yeah.
She says she'll sacrifice everything as well to bring forth the future she believes in. There's the line.
Yes.
That makes her a villain.
I was going to say, for me personally at the moment, she is the villain.
Arguably the Covenant aren't the big enough deal in the show yet.
Nope.
But this to me there, if you're willing to sacrifice everything to bring in a future for humanity, then what do you mean sacrifice everything?
She means everything.
Yeah, but like, that's it. So that to me makes her a villain.
Yes.
It really does. But that is enough for Halsey, who can't just leave. She initiates remote protocols and first contacts Mackie and attempts to coerce her into helping. So you've got this thing where basically she uses Cortana, and you can tell Cortana is a little uncomfortable or unhappy about some of these processes.
Yeah, definitely.
But continues to do her role.
She's an AI, so she learns as she's going. So.
Yeah, and plus Halsey created it this way. In fact, they discussed that a couple of times. She contacts Mackie and tries to talk to Mackie, but Mackie does not want to talk to Halsey, refuses to believe her, believing in John. With that plan having failed, Halsey then disables all communications across the base and then contacts Spartans Riz and Vanek under her direct control. So the two Spartans that don't have their chips removed, their pellets removed, and who were also unaware of the things that Halsey has done. She orders them to capture John, Mackey, and the Keystone, informing that Cortana will deal with John if he fights back. And you do get a shot of Cortana kind of face to be like, okay.
Yeah.
As they continue to now set up this, so they're on a separate channel and they're planning at the Spartans. Kai starts to question orders, but her readings are being seen by Halsey, who realizes that there's a chance that Kai's been compromised and contacts Riz and Vanek on a separate channel to say, look, she's been compromised, take her out.
Yep.
Which they do quite quickly as well.
Yep.
This is where this episode goes into overdrive,
yeah.
people. They restrain Kai, handcuffing in a bathroom. Halsey then reveals that she plans to hand John's mind over to Katana once she has Mackey. Basically, screw John. Mackey's the same. I can utilise her. You can then take over John, and John can be the badass Spartan, basically, that protects us.
Yep.
Villain, man. Pure villain.
Proper,
Innit? Absolutely.
Yep.
Meanwhile, John and Mackey are making their way to the Keystone, with Riz and Vanek lying in wait. At the same time this is going on, so everything's happening at once now, Miranda makes proper progress with the transmission, starting to finally hear a clearer voice, the voice of Mackey. Of course, she quickly realises it, tries to contact Jacob, but Halsey cut the comms.
I feel bad for I mean, it's hard.
It's terrible for Mackey.
It's hard to feel bad for, because obviously she did kill their entire crew. So, but
she's been indoctrinated.
She's been forced.
She's been indoctrinated.
Exactly.
Not even forced. She was indoctrinated, taken as a child. When she was a child, treated very poorly by humanity, taken by the Covenant, given this station, this stature, treated well by them, indoctrinated to hate humanity.
Yep.
That can't change overnight.
Nope.
That is, dare I say, this Mackey's issues has real world implications of people that have been groomed and indoctrinated into religious dogma and aspects like that. Of course you can feel sorry for her. Absolutely. I do feel sorry for her. But of course, on their way, basically Miranda, no comms, takes off running to try and stop Mackey getting near the Keystone, now believing that she has ill intent for it. Cortana betrays Halsey, choosing at the last second to warn John. And at first he's ignoring her. Mackey's like, who are you talking to? Like, because he's talking out loud, remember? And he's like, don't worry. And then it's Cortana just going, stop! That actually makes him stop. Now, I suspect she probably, like, not took complete control, but did something to make him, because he just stops dead almost.
Stops dead,
You know? And she tells him, what Halsey is doing. Halsey, seeing that John and Mackey have stopped, realises that Cortana's betrayed her, and admittedly does at least look a little bit impressed.
She was.
She does look a bit like, okay, all right.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
John sends Mackey away as Riz and Vanek now attempt to capture him. And John, he tries to talk him down, but of course they're not going to listen to him. They believe he's been compromised and they have no choice.
Yep.
So they fight him. This is banging. What a fight this is. At the same time as well, Kai is breaking free, which I love her.
The way she breaks that is hilarious.
Hoofing the sink off, basically. And she heads off to stop Halsey's ship. So John is fighting both Vanek and Riz, which he's Master Chief, but he's not in his armour. They're in their armour. He's doing his best, but he is taking a kick in here.
Oh, yeah, he is. His ass kicked.
He does get his ass kicked. Meanwhile, Mackey runs into a UNSC trooper who doesn't like her anyway. It's one of the guys that been staying guard outside her door. He restrains her and drags her to Jacob and Parangoski in the Keystone room. She's begging for people to listen, all that. And no, he's not listening, but she sees the Keystone and that kind of stops her in her tracks. You know, Jacob and Parangoski are like, where's Chief? Where's John? Meanwhile, John and Cortana now start to work as a team in the fight. Even though he's losing, there is some good stuff here. You can't kind of start to get the whole combination how it should work. Particularly when she starts the vehicle, he jumps out of the way, it slams into Vanek. Oh, Chief, use this item, duck here, that kind of thing. It's good. And you can picture like how, when they're a bit more in sync further down the line, they really could work well together.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Kai arrives to help him fight as Miranda arrives to reveal what Mackey did. So this is frantic. Kai joining the fight. Meanwhile, Miranda running in saying, get her away from the Keystone, don't let her touch on whatever. And everyone panicking now, not really getting it. Mackay is grabbed and tased in the back, which causes her to have memories of what happened to her in her youth. And it's pretty much confirmation. When you're already massively on the fence and the only person who really believed him was John, but you still felt really unsure about it, how do you go about betraying the Covenant now and stuff like that? It's just that little match needed. And it's proof for her that humanity is the problem. So she reaffirms the loyalty to the Covenant, frees herself and touches the keystone. And oh, what an effect.
Oh, bloody hell,
everyone involved in this, the stunt people and all that,
Yep.
it sends a shockwave throughout the base,
like
which flings. I mean, like Jacob gets flung, poof, everyone just goes boom.
Yep.
It fucks up everything. Comms, electrics, even John Reese and all them are flung about their room.
Yep.
It's very impressive stuff. I was, even now I get goosebumps. I was so into it. I'm sitting there going like, this is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
I said to my wife after watching this episode, I said, man, you should have watched this with me. I said, you made a mistake. You thought you would have really enjoyed it, you know? Mm-hmm. She's not making that mistake with The Last of Us. John is blasted, though. John, specifically, is blasted back to the Halo when McKee says goodbye to him. Mm-hmm. And that is the end of episode number 8. Oh, it's so good!
What a way to end that episode, man.
Oh my God!
On a cliffhanger, man.
What an amazing episode. It is energetic, it is energized, it really pushes the story on. It's exciting, it's tense, it's action-packed, and it ends in a way that you're like, give me episode 9, give me it.
Exactly. I said, it's unfortunately we got to wait another year.
No, we got episode 9. We still got episode 9 after that. Yeah, because we got big things to come in episode 9 as well.
Yes.
I guess you feel the same way about this. Is just not only the best episode, but here's the thing: it's only the best episode so far, or at least in the show, season 1.
Yeah. Because
of how we got here. Like on a standalone, we're having no context. Mm-hmm. I don't think you'd enjoy it as much because you wouldn't understand why Chief is a bit different to Vanek and Riz.
The one thing that I can say about this, the 9 episodes, is that you normally expect one down time in an episode. I don't think we've had any of that.
I don't think we've had. I think we've had a few slow moments.
We've had slow moments, but I think literally we've had. It's been really, really positive.
Paced well.
Yeah.
I agree. The slow parts in the earlier episodes were story.
Yeah.
And we need to tell a story before we can kind of really get invested in his characters. I find it hard to believe that anyone who got this far didn't thoroughly enjoy the shit out of this, you know?
Yep.
And even if you're kind of like, oh, I want more of the game stuff and all that, you're going to get a bit more of that in the next episode.
Yeah.
It's great. Episode 8, Allegiance. You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?